Hello, Unicorn Tribe. Happy Sunday and welcome back to my channel. Well, I have my MRI appointment on Friday. Do you want to know how it went? Stay tuned. So you all know how I love to find great deals and how I love unicorns. So I found another thrift store find. I got this great unicorn mug. I love it. Isn't it so cute? And on the back it says Unicorn Magic. I got this from Salvation Army for guess how much? $3. Yes. So for my fellow Unicorn Tribe members, cheers and happy to the weekend. For those of you who are new and would like to be a part of the Unicorn Tribe, that's the nickname that I've given to my subscribers. Just make sure you click that subscribe button up below. Thank you for watching. Okay, so Friday I had my MRI appointment and I did take some video inside the dressing room after I had my MRI exam. So I'm going to cut to the video now and we'll come back shortly with an update. Good morning. Okay, so it's Friday, March 5th, and I just had my MRI, the exam of my pelvis. So everything went very well. It's pretty painless except for being in a tight tube. The MRI was, it was a tight space. So if you're claustrophobic, think cool, relaxing thoughts, and that'll help you. But I do have the MRI of my pelvic exam. And so next, my doctor, Dr. Lipman, should get the results by Tuesday, and I should be getting a phone call sometime next week, hopefully, to have my phone consultation with him. During the week, I did find a wonderful YouTube video he did that discussed the UFE process, so I'm very excited. Anyway, talk to you later. Bye. I hope you enjoyed that brief little video clip from my MRI appointment on Friday. So it went very well. Like I said, it was pretty much painless except for being in that tight, confined space. The MRI, thankfully, I didn't have to go all the way in. Only went up to my chest level. So my neck and shoulders and head was out. So that was nice. I didn't get too claustrophobic. It did get really hot around, as I mentioned, they did an MRI of my pelvis area without contrast. That's what the Dr. Lipman asked for. So you can be able to identify and clearly see on the report the size of my uterine fibroids and any other issues that I might have. Hopefully I won't have any more, but so you can clearly see my fibroids on the scan. So the MRI is very large magnets that do an image of your pelvis or other area that they're doing the imaging scan of. And it does get very warm. So my pelvis area was very warm during the MRI, and it was very loud, the clicking of the magnets. So they do give you earplugs to put in your ears. But other than that, it was pretty painless. And they gave me the CD, which Dr. Lipman requested. And I called Dr. Lipman after my MRI appointment Friday morning and spoke to his appointment scheduler. And she said that I would need to mail the CD to him. And I did that Saturday morning. He should get it by Wednesday. And I was able to schedule my phone consultation with Dr. Lipman. So unfortunately, he's already booked up for the month of March. He's in high demand. The appointment scheduler says he's limited to only 2 phone consultations a day. So right now I have I have an appointment, for Friday, April 9th. And she said if they do have any cancellations, I may be bumped up. So fingers crossed, prayers that I get bumped up, because the sooner I can have the phone consultation with him, the sooner I can book my UFE appointment for the procedure. And as I mentioned, UFE stands for Uterine Fibroid Embolization. In my next video, I'll be doing a detailed description breakdown of what UFE versus UAE. Now, I know some people had commented on my last video and mentioned that there is a procedure out there. It's called uterine artery embolization, where they also use X-ray imaging to treat the lining of the uterus. Now, UAE procedure, they do damage the lining of your uterus. It's mostly used to treat like endo and some other pelvic problems. But the problem with that procedure is that if you do have UAE, uterine artery embolization, that will destroy the lining of your uterus and you won't be able to get pregnant or carry your baby. So that is a very big distinction. If you do want to have children, do not get UAE. The UFE, uterine fibroid embolization, is something completely different. They do not touch the lining of your uterus. What they do is they insert a small particle into the vessels that are feeding the fibroid. And what it does is that it cuts off the blood supply to the fibroid, and it causes the fibroid to shrink and die, and you will pass the fibroid. So there's no damage to your uterine lining, and most women are able to get pregnant afterwards and have, there are lots of reports on Dr. Lipman's Instagram, on his website, and I will link that on the description below. But his Instagram handle is at Dr._Lipman. And as I mentioned, he's located at the Atlanta Fibroid Institute, also known as the Atlanta Fibroid Center in Atlanta, Georgia. And he is the #1 expert for doing the uterine fibroid embolization here in the United States. So I'm very excited about going to him. He is in network with my insurance. So that's a wonderful opportunity for me to get my fibroid treated. And this UFE procedure is a non-surgical outpatient procedure. It's done in about 30 minutes. It's an outpatient. They tell you to take about a week off from work. And it takes about 2 to 3 months to fully recover. You have a follow-up appointment. And after that, I could do my transfer. So I'm very excited about that. Yay! So countdown to April 9th to my phone consult, but hopefully I can get bumped up to an earlier appointment. So that's the synopsis right now of what's going on. For the rest of the month, I'll be going into describing about I'll give you more information about the UFE procedure. I'll talk more about my fibroid history. I mentioned that I've had 2 myomectomy surgeries in the past. I had my first one in 2007, a second one in 2011. I've also went into early menopause at the age of 44, which I consider that early. It was certainly unexpected. I'll talk about that some more. I'll also go into about picking my sperm donor and egg donor. Since I don't have any other appointments coming up until April 9th, I could kind of go take my time and go back into my process that got me to here. One thing I do want to mention is that I'm doing a lot of self-care, as I love to do during the month. And I mentioned how I love candles, and I got this great candle from Walmart that I love. It is lavender and chamomile scented, and it smells wonderful. As I mentioned in my shopping haul, the natural product shopping haul, I love lavender. Lavender and chamomile are both relaxing scents. Teas. I also got some chamomile tea yesterday, and it's very nice to have at the end of the day as you unwind and get ready to go to bed. It can relax you and help you sleep and rest wonderful. So I also did some acupuncture on Friday. That was very nice. After having a busy week, it kind of wound me down. And I went to bed. I was out by even 9:30. I was asleep. And yesterday it was raining here in Jacksonville and overcast. So I just took a nap. Me and my cat, we just kind of watched some movies. Last night I watched Coming to America 2. How did you all like it? I loved it. I thought it was great. So give me some feedback in the comments below if you did watch Coming to America 2 with Eddie Murphy. And most of the cast came back. It was exciting on Amazon Prime. So Last night, I actually did a movie marathon. I watched Coming to America, the original, followed by the sequel. And as I mentioned, I really like it. It was great. And so I hope it gets lots of reviews and rewards. And I hope they do a sequel, another sequel. I heard that Eddie Murphy's thinking about doing a third one. So we'll see. But I've been doing a lot of self-care and rest this weekend. I've been really tuning into my body. And right now, my body's just like wants to nap and just chill. And I actually got a yoga ball. I'm going to show you that later in the month. I've been doing some stretching, getting ready to do some toning and exercise work. I've been doing some walking as well. So later this month, I'll be showing you the supplements that I take, the vitamins, and I'm doing some herbal teas and traditional Chinese medicine. I also got that refilled on Friday. So I'll be doing a video later in the month discussing all that, sharing my supplements, what I'm taking to build my iron. As I mentioned, and I'll mention this in my video right now, I mentioned in my first video last week, that some of the effects of having fibroids are that number one is that uterine fibroids can change the shape of your cervix, and it can affect how many sperm can enter the uterus. So as I mentioned, having fibroids can affect and cause you to be infertile. It can definitely give you problems with conceiving. Fibroids also can change the shape of the uterus, interfering with the movement of the sperm in the embryo. And it can also hinder implantation. So, as I mentioned, my history, I had fibroids inside and outside my uterus. Now, when I first got diagnosed with fibroids back in 2007, and when they regrew in 2011, they were inside my uterus. And that was why I had to have the myomectomy surgeries. But when I did my transfers in 2019, my first round of donor IVF in 2019, and my last one in 2020, my OBGYN, they did find a fibroid, but it was located at that time outside my uterus. So I asked about, should I have it removed before I did my frozen embryo transfers? And my doctors at CNY and my OBGYNs and the RE said, no, it shouldn't affect the embryo implanting because the fibroid was outside my uterus. And as I mentioned, I had 4 embryos my first round. My first transfer, I did get pregnant. Fortunately, it was a chemical. And I had further testing after that. And the RE said, well, we did a hysteroscopy, and they did a laparoscopy, and they found a uterine polyp, and they removed that. And then I had another transfer in November and December of 2019. Both of those failed, unfortunately. And so I took a break, COVID hit, and then I did my final transfer of my last embryo from the first donor in August of 2020. And that embryo, I had my first embryo that I planted was a day 5. That was a chemical pregnancy. And my second and third transfers were day 3 embryos. And my last embryo transfer on August 2020 was a beautiful day 5. And unfortunately, it didn't take. I thought for sure that was going to work. But at that time, I was really pushing myself physically. I really should have waited, but my contract was up, and I really had to use my last embryo or pay more money to store it. So I felt like, well, I'll just go ahead and go up there with the whole COVID, and we're getting ready to go into winter. I was like, you know what, just let me go ahead and put it in, and we'll see how it goes. And unfortunately, it didn't take. By the time I had my final, my 4th embryo transfer, my uterine fibroid had grown from me taking all the estrogen and the progesterone. The hormones, it caused my fibroid to grow larger. And in fact, the fibroid is pressing on my uterus. So now it's at the point where I mentioned some of the effects about how fibroids can change the shape of your uterus, and it can inhibit the movement of sperm and embryo. I think that's one of the reasons why my last couple of transfers failed, is that my fibroid has gotten so large that my fibroid is outside my uterus, but it's at the very top where you typically place the embryo. So I think my fibroid is pressing on the area and causing the embryo and giving the embryo a hard time to implant in the lining. So before I transfer my two new MBs that I have on ice, I want to get the fibroid treated. So that's where I'm at right now. Looking into getting the UFE procedure, as I mentioned, and I'll be sharing in the next video more information about fibroids and the pros and cons of the uterine fibroid embolization versus the uterine artery embolization procedures. I'm getting this information from Dr. Lipman from his Instagram page. As I mentioned, he's the #1 expert in the U.S. With doing these uterine fibroid embolization procedure. So I'll be sharing some slides, and in my next video, I will link you to a wonderful video that I found. Dr. Lipman actually treated Cynthia Bailey from the Real Housewives of Potomac. She suffered with fibroids for many, many years, and she went to Dr. Lipman to have her fibroids treated, as well as other women. And he did a wonderful documentary following a patient of his who had the uterine fibroid embolization procedure. It went from the beginning to the end. You're awake during the procedure. It really put me at ease when I watched this YouTube video that he did. So I will share that in my next video when I discuss the pros and cons of UFE versus UAE. But before I end the video today, I just want to share one more thing about fibroids. So fibroids, they can affect the size of the lining of the uterine cavity, and they can affect the amount of blood flow to the uterine cavity, decreasing the ability of an embryo to implant itself to the uterine wall and develop. So I think this is what definitely probably hindered what caused my last 3 transfers to fail. As I mentioned, my uterine fibroid has, even though it's outside my uterus, it's gotten big and it's been pushing on my uterus. So I'm pretty certain that that is why my last 3 transfers failed, is that it is inhibiting the embryo being able to implant in the lining. So I am really excited to get this procedure done and get this treated. And one other little thing I would share is that I got this gift in 2019. I joined a Secret Santa group from one of my IVF Facebook groups, and we exchanged gifts. And I got this wonderful, useful journal. So it's called the Ivf Journal, and it says the solution for managing practitioners' tests, medications, appointments, procedures, finances, and the emotional aspects of your journey. So it's a great little journal where you can document all of your appointments, your procedures. You can track your expenses. They have different little charts in here. You can track your medication logs in it. It's about, I want to say it's less than $10. I know when we did the Secret Santa gift exchange, our limit was $10. And so my lovely Secret Santa person gave me this great book. So I haven't had a chance to use it previously, but as I get ready to prepare for my UFE procedure, I'm definitely going to start using this journal to gear up and track all of my testing. I'll be happy to do more ultrasounds and blood tests and track my procedures and medications. And there's even a section here for egg retrieval results and embryo monitoring, insurance coverage, your clinic's notes, physicians, and all that worksheet. So I would highly recommend this book. You can find it on Amazon. And if some of you do get this book and use it, mention in the comments below. Maybe we can become journal buddies and share our journey experiences together. So I'm going to keep it short, but to those who would like to be a part of my unicorn tribe, please click that subscribe button below. And for the rest of you, have a great week. And cheers! Have a wonderful week, Unicorn Tribe members. Until the next video, may your days be blessed and may your dreams be made manifest. Bye.